Okay, hello and welcome back. We are live streaming Our Life Beginnings and Always, featuring our friendship with Cove from childhood to teenager to adulthood, and possibly more than friendship, depending on how things go. We have finished all of the moments from childhood, including the DLC moments. And we will be moving on to adolescence today. I have not made that step before. I don't know how that's going to work. So we'll find out together. If you are enjoying my live streams, please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. I will include a link to the base game in the description of this video. When I start playing the DLC for the adolescent step, I will include links to that. Probably won't get to that today, and probably not next week, maybe the week after. I don't know. We'll see how things look, how long the moments take. So at the moment, we are playing a little girl named Julia, and she has an older sister named Lizzie. But I always had a plan, an idea of what I wanted to do with Julia. The nice thing about this game is they're giving you the chance to change your pronouns. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of play with that. And then the summer ended, so here we go. Are you sure? Yes. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your mom's, Lizzie, and Cove, as the both of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far, far away. So if we're watching the sun set and it's setting over the ocean, that means we're on the west coast or somewhere. This makes sense. You like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. Come on. That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians on the shopping street now. Neither did I. Oh no, we are so dull. Let's get out more. You didn't do real magic, Mom. How did you figure that one out?
Duh.
Because I know, that's not what real magic looks like. Oh, Lizzie dear, there's all kinds of magic in the world. Lizzie gave Mommy a suspicious look, but didn't dispute the claim. She looked over at Cove, who hadn't said a word since he started home. You look upset, though. Just pretend. You're aware he still hasn't quite warmed up to your parents. Well, we can't sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan. Mom, summer's almost over. The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on the horizon. You only didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. Yeah, my family never really went anywhere during the summer. So, especially because we went to school that had classes year round. It was elementary school, and then by middle school and high school, it got too expensive. Everywhere was expensive. And besides, we lived close enough to Disneyland any old time. We didn't have to wait for summer or winter break. But even that got expensive. I went right before the whole pandemic started with my sisters because our birthdays are close together. Well, one of them is 29. Yeah, so that's the last time I went. And honestly, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with making it an occasional thing. I don't want to go very often because then the shine starts to come up. Anyway, so I got out my trusty D6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so add a D6 and we need a D10. Here we go. Okay, let's fix. I've miscounted. Okay, so 1 or 6, 2 or 7, 3 or 8, 4 or 9, 5 or 10, or 0 on my dice. Nine. Best puppy dog eyes. Yes. Oh, don't look at me like that. Like what?
Please.
You have homework and reading to do. You can't do work now, too. Oh, I love reading. I will happily read, but only if I'm interested. Lizzie made her case and then stomps her foot into the ground. If you're standing on the beach, that's not very effective. Because your foot just goes into the sand. You mimicked her feelings, that would add something to the argument. Well...
No.
Oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner. Mommy leaned in for a hug, and you knew that you were very close to victory.
Okay.
All right. But as soon as dinner's ready, you lot are coming inside. Understood? Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. Oh dear, you're welcome to join us as well. You grinned at Cove and nudged his arm with your elbow. Cove gave a non-committal shrug to your mommy, which you took as an agreement. So much to do, so little time. Maybe I could look at the seashell bracelet at times and trinkets. Ooh, or maybe the playground, or the fireflies would probably be coming out right. I got a D4 here. Don't I get a say on this? You certainly made your own plans. You can't go too far. I'm going home. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I'm going home. Oh, bye. Bye, Lizzie. I'm gonna stay here. Okay, I'll see you later, Cove. He nodded and waved you off. Shut the door behind you, shivering lightly as you adjusted to the more pleasant temperature inside. Welcome home.
Hi,
sweetie. Where's Cove? Can I come with you? I want to stay on the beach a little longer. No, it's so silly. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna choose one of the other options. If I can get it to go back. Come on. Okay, it's not even doing anything at all. What the heck? Thank you. That's it. Jeez. Okay, so we're gonna pick one. We're gonna use a D6 and pick one of these first 3 options. So this is 1 or 4, 2 or 5, 3 or 6. 1. Don't I get a say on this? Lizzie looked over at you, narrowing her eyes like she was very seriously contemplating the answer to that question. Strong gusts of wind made you shiver. Lizzie hatched as she wrapped her arms around herself.
Rude.
Doesn't the wind know that summer's not over yet? That's all Lizzie said before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in the direction your mother had gone. Where are you going? I'm going to my room. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most of tomorrow. You got this over, looking off towards the water again. Lizzie didn't wait, and before long she was disappearing off down the road. Meanwhile, Cove was going in the opposite direction, heading for the beach. We're gonna stay with Cove. We're not alone, guys. We know. Okay. The point of this is about the friendship with Cove. Cove gave you a smile, but you couldn't help but return.
Cool.
He made a little gesture that you interpreted as, me, and then started heading to the waves. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as the smooth rock. He reared his arm back and tossed it out into the water. It was one of these two, so or 3, 2, or 4? 1. You were impressed over how far you got it to go. It fell way out into the sea. We'll look for our owner. Planning to join Cove, you searched nearby for any rocks or shells that you could throw too. Found a shell that would suit your purposes. Now grind as you tossed it as hard as you could. Landed with a wet stunk a few feet away and slipped down into the water. When he looked over at Cove, he seemed to notice that his wear had been more impressive. Cove was looking down at his cast, scratching idly at the pink surface, even though you were pretty sure he couldn't feel it. I have not had a cast, but I'm pretty sure you're right. I could ask my brother, he's had a cast. I could pinch someone in the cheek. Brows were furrowed and there was a frown on his face.
It's not
fair. I've had to wear this cast for ages. I can't even swim. Let's ask how I got it. I was jet skiing. Cool. Beamed at him. You had never gone jet skiing, but you'd seen others do it all the time from the shore. It looked impressive. Cove looked a little taken aback by your outburst, but after a second he gave a small nod, then continued to explain. I crashed. He answered to his arm as if to say, and this was the result. Hard to believe you're allowed to jet ski.
Well.
I'm not. Oh. Cove let out a huff, popping down into the sand. Can't believe swim was almost over. He sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change. I don't want to go to school. I mean, I would. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same school as you and Lucy. My dad said something about that. Cool. You're going to like it. Everyone's super nice. You'd only ever been to one school, but you were sure the old school couldn't have been that much better. He's comfortable. Then again, he did have to make new friends and new teachers. Excuse me. It could be kind of scary. Cove shook his head, then wrapped his good arm around his knees as he drew them to his chest. You heard a sniffling sound, and when you took a good look at his face, you realized that his eyes were wet.
I want to go home.
You never had to move before, but you thought you could understand. If you had to go to a new school all of a sudden with all new people, you'd probably be dreading it too. Even though you sort of maybe understood, you still weren't sure how to help. Okay, I'll see you later. Cove gave his head a small shake. No, I wanted to go back home. Right, Cove wanted to go back to his old home, the one that sat waiting someplace far from here, when he would bring up whenever he felt this sad. I figured that's what he meant, but hey, you're not going to know the nuances. It had been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. He fell back down to the sand, trying to consider what to do. Do you hate it here? This can be your home. It'll be alright. Okay. 1 or 4, 2 or 5, 3 or 6. 4. Do you hate it here? Those brows furrowed even more. Then he shook his head. He felt the rush of relief fill you. You liked having Cove here. It'd be sad if he'd been miserable the whole time. You're not going to leave, right? You'll still be around? The question was a little surprising. Of course. Parents would have mentioned if you were going to move or something, right? I think it's more he's trusting that you'll still be his friend. For a second, Cove gave a little nod. Once I get my cast off, we could go swimming. We were fine with him changing the subject again. Yeah, that would be fun. Cove smiled and looked back to the waves. My dad keeps saying I'll get used to everything eventually, that I feel better then. It used to make me angry. I didn't want to get used to everything. He tried to glance over at Cove and saw that anger had slipped off his face in favor of something almost puzzled. But maybe that'll be okay after all, as long as I really do feel better. I can't see it. You remember a long time ago when you first started going to school, you'd absolutely not been okay with the idea of being away from your parents for most of the day, listening to strangers tell you what to do and say with kids you've never met before. Things changing is hard. That's exactly what he said. Okay. Let's just hold his hand. I'm not quite sure what to say to that, so instead he reached out and took hold of Cove's hand. The one closest to you is the one in his camp, so he made sure you were very gentle. As you watched, Cove's eyes got a little misty once more. You got the feeling that they were different tears than the ones from before, though. I hope next summer I'll surf and go exploring and everything will feel like it's supposed to again. You will. It will. The two of you sat quietly, just taking in the sounds of the waves. You hoped that Cove would be able to accept this place as his new home. You definitely tried to help in what ways you could. There were so many wonderful things here Cove probably hadn't even seen yet. Lost in thought, you started a bit when you heard a faint, familiar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. You looked over your shoulder, realizing it was probably time for dinner. Time had really gone by fast. You stood and dusted the sand off of yourself. And I was calling, it's time for dinner. You should come. Cove looked up at you, expressing screaming reluctance, yet ultimately, okay. When he smiled, Cove returned with one of his own. Julia, thanks.
Thanks.
It was nice. Where you were right then. But the two of you couldn't stay there in your own little world any longer. You were being called forward. The both of you ran off towards your house, leaving the waves and summer behind. Nice. In between. Okay, so okay, so what I'm gonna do is we're going to switch pronouns because I kind of have this idea that Julia is in the middle of figuring themselves out. Figuring out, am I female? Am I male? What's my gender? And so to show that, let's see if I do this on the correct computer. So their name is Jules now. That's what they're going by. This is fun. Yeah, let's get them acting on top of everything else. about adolescence is when I started, when my parents let me pierce my ears. Okay. Um, I'm torn about their interest in Cove. Do I want them to remain fun? Do I want them to start having a crush? We'll stick with fun. Oh, what a cutie. Oh my goodness. August ended, September began. It was time to go back to school. Yeah, and I deliberately didn't do anything about Cove's personality because I want to see how it's affected by what we did. Susie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes, but there were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. You weren't sure how Cove felt about it. He was enrolled that year. That was like a sign Cove would be staying in Sunset Third for a while. At school, he was alright, but kept his distance from the other kids. From what you saw, anyway. Whenever he could, Cove stuck to you like glue. He didn't even mind that much what you did to pass the time, as long as it was together. That year, the divorce from Cove's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about it, saying Cove's dad got full custody. First, a word that meant bad news, and it made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. Then he found out it meant Cove would keep living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. Cove cried, too. For different reasons, he thought. It seemed like Cove and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset First more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. He seemed very confident that it was an effective strategy. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents, and it's true whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. He didn't understand what had changed. Still, he worried about it. He could tell he wasn't completely happy. Maybe one day he could say out loud what he felt inside. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what was normal didn't stay the same. Years passed, and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes, too. Cove's cast got taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. Underneath the pink plaster ended up being a long, thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest popped out of his head when someone drew attention to it. He also went for a major growth spurt. He was the tallest human in his class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again next time. In class, people knew for him for more than just being tall. He also stood out because of how well he did in gym and other athletic situations. Over the years, he began opening up more, too. He found talking amicably with other kids or neighbors from time to time. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when he was little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. He and his mom moved back south because of her work, 1 year after Cove came to Sunset Third. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lucy was inconsolable for weeks. But nobody talked about Shiloh anymore. It was a long time ago. He learned some heartbreaking things became less sad the further away they were, even if he had never gotten any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different, too. He still lived in the same house and all that, but it wasn't how it was before. Mom dyed her hair purple, wanting something new, and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. He remembered calling her Mommy as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. We were much too old for the word. Rosie felt too mature for a nickname, too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth. So he did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. In fact, she only spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated more and more with girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was his and Cove's dad struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. And Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along to his work if Derek had the time for it. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you had changed, in small and big ways. You had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over, and summer vacation had come again. It was the first day of summer vacation. The sun was hot as ever, but you were inside and away from its harsh rays. To be more specific, you were snuggled up in bed, celebrating your time off by sleeping in. Wide awake, about to head out to enjoy your time off. Now, me personally, I'd probably be the second because I can't sleep in. Maybe when I was younger, but these days, I tend to get up about the same time. So, 1 or 3, 2 or 4. 2. Wide awake. You made sure to slather on a generous amount of sunscreen so you didn't get burnt. My skin so dark is not an issue. You were looking in the mirror, setting the clothes you'd thrown on, when your bedroom door opened without warning. In the reflection, saw Elizabeth raise an eyebrow. Have you been staring at yourself this whole morning? Okay, so 1 or 4, 2 or 5, 3 or 6. Fell on the floor, but it still counts. Would you knock next time? She ignored that, crossing her arms over her chest with a disgruntled expression. Clearly, she hadn't come in just to see you. Mom told me to tell you that your friend's at the door. He brought some happy summer gifts from Mr. Holden. Mom wants you to take it from him, say thanks or whatever.
Come on.
So, come down already. Be right there. Okay, fine. Really? That's great. I'm coming. Be there when I'm there. Let's go with the first one. Elizabeth said nothing else and left, having done what she was instructed of her. Now alone, he focused on the mirror once again. Okay, this is about height. Okie dokies. I am short. So there's 5 options. So 1 or 6, 2 or 7, 3 or 8, 4 or 9, 5 or 10, or 0 in this case. 4. No. We're gonna go with tall. Cove tend to be the only person around who's even taller, at least among teens your own age. Let's go with self-conscious. You couldn't help but feel awkward with the body you had. Then you put the finishing touches on your outfit while ruminating on the situation. Careless as they had been, Elizabeth's words piqued your curiosity. But yeah, it's fitting that they're self-conscious about their body because they're still trying to figure out their identity. So, yeah, we'll stick with that. You planned on going over to see what Cove was up to, so this worked in your favor. Your reflection grinned back at you. You were looking forward to seeing him. You left your room, taking an easy time down the stairs. Step 2, second chance. So here we go. Spotted Mom first reclining on the couch. She held a magazine in her hands, which she was perusing through. Morning, Mom. She looked up at your greeting, a smile instantly appearing on her face.
Thanks.
Good morning, Jules. Thank you for coming down. Ma's at the door with Cove. He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why don't you go and thank him before he leaves? You nodded and made your way to the front of the house. Just as she said, Ma was there making conversation. She must have heard you because she looked over her shoulder.
Oh?
Look who finally made it. Morning, sleepyhead. That is a nice color for her. Ma reached forward and you knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than average for an adult woman, so you were still little in her eyes, despite being big for your own age. Let's go with that. Pushed her hand. Ma could be so ridiculous, you thought, but that was okay. You're the last one down today, you know that. Morning. That's all, you really are a sleepyhead right now. The small laugh Mom stepped aside. That was just as you remembered, exactly how you came to know him to be. He leaned uncomfortably to the side in your doorway as the longer strands of his hair drifted idly drifted with the breeze. His features were pinched in embarrassment, and he shifted from one foot to another. He was holding what must be the much-talked-about gift. At first glance, you figured it must be a bouquet of flowers. Then you gave it a real look. No, instead it was carefully cut fruit. It made a lot of sense that it was actually from Cove's dad. You had to express a lack of this showing. You couldn't imagine many folks buying those sort of things for their own personal enjoyment. That kind of arrangement was built for the presentation, mostly to impress whoever was inevitably going to receive it. And so no matter how long he lived here, Mr. Holden would keep going out of his way to be neighborly, and Cove would always be roped into participating. It's adorable. Cove smiled at the sight of you. The thing of this goofy errand, and he was clearly embarrassed to be on ease. Hey, Jules. Smiled back. It was second nature to you. Cove had always been such a close friend, ever since the two of you were kids. Hey, it's nice to see you.
Yeah.
You too. Your grin widened even more. Every time you came, your mood was brightened. It's already shaping up to be another long summer with plenty of time for the two of you to have fun together. His awkwardness over the task started to creep back in, so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. And with that, the gift was accepted. I hope you and your family like this. Pretty good gift. I think so, anyway. He smiled earnestly. Dad spent a lot of time picking out the best size and designs. There were so many options to choose from. Oh boy. I don't know. Okay, so 1 or 4, 2 or 5, 3 or 6. 5. Thanks. Did you tell your dad you liked the gift? Yeah. Mr. Holden's behavior really was different from any neighbor you'd ever had. So after 5 years, you were used to his antics, and you since made up your mind on what your opinion was. I didn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'd be so weird crushing on your best friend's dad, but it's happened. So, yeah. Here we go, D6. 3. I don't want to go with weird, though. I don't want to go with, yeah. So we'll skip those 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. He was great. So there were some things people didn't like about Mr. Holden. You didn't mind them. You liked him quite a bit. Your thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. There you are! He showed a confused look with Cove, as when both of you stepped through the open door onto the neighborhood street. Didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. Noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. Derek was certainly welcome guest in your neighborhood. It was a pleasant surprise whenever he showed up. After stopping a couple steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. Then he looked up with a wide grin. Hey, guy and pal. It's been some time since you officially began using they pronouns. Family knows and supports you in it. So does Cove and his dad. Derek was someone you met afterwards. He didn't know you from before, but he's always accepted you for who you are, no matter what. Oh, that's sweet. He's short. I was just in your house, Cove, but no one was there. Should have figured you'd be at Jules' place. Do you ever spend time in your own home, or are you always just there? Derek laughed at his own joke. He either didn't notice that it embarrassed Cove, or his embarrassment was what he was actually laughing at. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more when his eyes widened, and he gasped. What's that? He followed his gaze, unsure, didn't realize what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. It's kind of like a bouquet of flowers, but made out of fruit.
Nice.
Can I have some? It's a gift from my family. I can't give it to you. Derek flattered at your words, not hiding his disappointment. Okay. Then he nodded his head as if to clear it. Anyway, that's right. I came here because I needed to say something big. Just a moment. So come on. My cat wanted in my room. Are you gonna take a nap on my bed, huh? Huh? You there? You gonna take a nap on my bed? There you go. I sleep in my bed, on my bed. I also have stuff on my dresser, and just found a nice little nest up there for himself. He likes it better in the summers. Anyway, back to the game. Possibly for effect. There's some other kid here in Sunset Bird. What was as surprised as you were by the news? Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age had moved here since Cove did 5 years ago. Were they with their families? Maybe they were cutting through. Nuh-uh. The new kid was all by himself, just walking. Did you talk to him?
Nope.
Nope. I can report a sighting right away. The kid had green hair, glasses, was pretty small, and was really upset about something. I hope he didn't leave. That sounds like a Cove all over again. Blink. You looked over to your longtime neighbor. That sounds a lot like you, Cove, when you first got here anyway. It kinda does, doesn't it? That's weird. He sounded almost blind, a small smile playing on his lips. Derek snickered good-naturedly. I can see that really well, now that you say so. But what do you say? Let's go find Cove's lookalike. We should all meet him.
Sure.
I'll do it. Sure, I want to see who this person is. Derek grinned, and he pointed down the street the way he came. As I saw him, the mystery visitor was going this direction. Nothing else needed to be said. The three of you were off, with Derek leading the way. Derek brought you to the beach, and as a trio, you made your way down the shore to the old playground. You walked with another passing comfortable silence. When you're almost there, you spotted the kid in question. His bright colors almost shone like a beacon beneath the rays of the sun. He scuffled around, picking up the sand as he paced. It was true, he certainly seemed upset, but he didn't think he was sad like he had originally pictured. No, with his erratic movements and step expression, he came off angry. He started to have doubts about this expedition. He could be better if you left him alone and let him sort himself out. Derek didn't feel the same. He waved wildly, calling out to the boy. Hey, guy, over here. The kid whipped around, an impressive scowl carving deep onto his face. His eyes were tired, but a strong, hostile energy still radiated from him.
What?
What is it? What do you want? Sharp tone made Derek flinch. He shifted on his feet. What's your name? Jeremy. Was that it? No. I'm Derek. That's Jules and Cove. We were just walking around and saw you. We wanted to say hi. There aren't a lot of kids our age in the neighborhood. Yeah, so it's cool to see someone else here. Strangely, Jeremy grew furious by the response. If things could erupt from a person's ears, it would have happened then. They did bring me somewhere stupid. Of course, I knew it. This is a great start. What?
My parents.
They're the ones who brought me. I didn't walk to this town. Can you not figure that out on your own? Oh, geez, half so much?
Right.
My dad brings me to Sunset Bird, too, when he has to come for work and all that stuff. It's not bad. That earned him a glare from Jeremy. Derek winced beneath it, glancing away. It was a struggle to remain friendly with this Jeremy guy. I mean, I wouldn't want to come here for a real vacation. Probably either. That's an understatement. It doesn't count as a vacation. It's a waste of time. A chore. My parents' family is nearby, and we just had to come see them. If they're your parents' family, doesn't that make them your family, too?
I guess.
That's a pretty good reason to come by. Did you want to go somewhere else? No. Jeremy crossed his arms with a hug. He turned away. They should have gone by themselves if they cared so much and left me home, but I'm not allowed to be by myself. It makes no sense. They're the ones who don't know how to do anything, and I'm the kid? Boy. You shouldn't talk about your friends like that, so I must like being forced to do something you don't want. We just said hello. You don't have to keep complaining at us. Calm down. You don't have to yell so much. I'm eating nurse cereal this morning. Oh my goodness. Oh, these are all so good. I definitely don't want to keep quiet. Definitely don't want to do that last one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Three. Wow, why did you decide to come talk to me? Did I ask for that? No. Do I want you to come over and start popping your guns at me about dumb stuff? No. Now you're going to whine that this isn't what you wanted? Too bad. It's not my job to care. Someone needs a kick in the pants. Turn to Cove, lowering your voice. You aren't that similar after all. Jeremy must have had good hearing, though, because he caught the private exchange and stuff.
Stupid.
Of course we're not similar. My eyebrows aren't stupid. Those cheeks flashed crimson at the insult. You couldn't be sure if it was out of embarrassment or anger. Maybe both. Come on. Okay, so now we've got a bullpen. Don't listen to him. They're really unique and special. Coach smiled weakly. Special because of how ridiculous they look, maybe. Boy. Let's group this one, crossing our arms over our chest. We're really getting tired of this. Wow, what is wrong with you? Don't take offense. Jeremy only parroted Derek's words in a nasally voice.
Wow. What is wrong with you?
Wow. This is dumb. You're dumb. Jeremy stuck out his tongue and skulked away. There was more sound everywhere as he went. He watched him go, hunched over, until it became a speck in your vision. Hey! My cat's staring down at me. He likes to perch up high. Time's rained in his wake. The three of you tried to process what just happened. I can't believe it. What a mean kid. Derek wasn't kidding, and by the sound of those earlier complaints, the new boy, Jeremy, was going to be in the area for at least a little while this summer. Derek sighed in dismay, popping onto the ground. You followed, and Cove did too shortly after. There wasn't much else to do.
This sucks.
I was hoping we could meet someone fun and hang out, maybe. Shook his head. After a moment, he slowly turned to you with a hopeful expression. But, you know what was really in for the day? What? He didn't respond. Instead, he used the hand to play. Right, the fruit arrangement that you were still holding. You completely forgot about it during the mini-drama that unfolded. You got used to the wait. It's the over to Cove. You noticed he's on the fruit. You must want some, too. You need to save it.
Okay.
Besides, still staring at squishing fruits. There's an incest further. Yeah, it's a gift for the hut family after all. They should be the ones who get to have it. Sorry for asking. It's fine. Light once more descended upon your group. Cove turned towards the ocean, a peaceful expression on his face. Hey, you two remember the land before time? That fruit thing makes me think of it. The dinosaurs all like the leaves that were shaped like stars. Oh gosh, I remember the land before time. I didn't watch the other movies that came after it, but the first one broke my heart. Sea stars. Yeah, chopping leaves looked so delicious when they did it. I love that movie. Me too. Derek didn't say anything further about dinosaurs or otherwise. For the next few minutes, the three of you watched the waves crash onto the shore. Hey, Jules? Yeah? Two of you met eyes casually. Thanks for what you said back then. I thought everybody thinks like that guy. Oh, it's okay. He was just being a jerk. Derek chimed in strongly. Don't listen to it, Cove. He's the problem. People shouldn't say those types of things. Yeah. Derek then leaned back on his arms and contemplated the sky with a content sigh. So, are you both ready for summer break? Yeah. Well, on you. Wish I could say the same. It feels like there's a lot to plan for. And what about you, Cove? Are you ready? I think that depends. Before you could say anything else, the light atmosphere was shadowed. Hey, Jules! Glanced over your shoulder to see your sister. She strode closer and closer, appearing none too pleased. I've been looking all over for you. Mom said you and Cove ran off with the thing Mr. Holden brought for us. She leered over you, lips, arms folded. So, where is it? It's fine and right here. You turned your body to face her and held up the bouquet, proving that it was in one piece. She inspected the fruit arrangement with a small frown.
Okay.
Alright, looks good. But if all you're doing is sitting around, you better take it back to the house now. It's not just for you. She grinned, glancing at Cove, who sat beside you. Even if you do have an in with the delivery boys, this was up to Mr. Holden. Cove stifled a chuckle and gave you a conspiratorial look. Get going. This wasn't okay just because you hadn't done anything yet. Oh no, I think I have a mean kid coming back. We better get out of here. Elizabeth blinked confused and looked around.
What?
What kid? I don't see anyone. Derek didn't bother explaining. He just launched to his feet and ran off. Cove hopped up too, gladly taking the opportunity to exit the situation. He followed after Derek, but he suddenly looked at you from over his shoulder. He turned to watch Elizabeth. She stared back, brow raised. I don't want to deal with my sister. I'm gonna run. Without a word, you two got to your feet and bolted down the beach. Unimpressed, Elizabeth rolled her eyes.
So immature.
Oh yeah, 2 years younger, and they're so immature. She shook her head as she walked towards the house, not bothering whatsoever to follow. Meanwhile, the three of you made it back to the shoreline. Derek pumped his fist, grinning in triumph. We escaped and shall live to see another day. Victory! You threw your arms up in celebration. You chuckled together, walking further down the beach side by side. You definitely wanted to stay outside a little while longer. Later that night, you found yourself seated near the kitchen counter. You'd gotten a bit of a talking to for wearing off with the dip, twice, even though you hadn't eaten any of it. Elizabeth was also asked to be a bit more patient in the future. In the end, the four of you had split the bouquet after dinner, and the event was fully resolved. That was a little while ago now. Your fingers drummed on the surface as you waited, your gaze trained on the phone. You were waiting on a call tonight, specifically from your cousin Leandra. You didn't want to miss it accidentally. Your uncle, aunt, and Lee used to live many hours away. The families only saw each other a few times a year for big occasions. Yep. Been there, done that. A while back, though, they moved and were closer to you than ever before. You now hung out regularly. With school being out, your pa's just going to want to come over a lot. The two of you were the same age and got along well. She used to be really fond of Elizabeth, too, but now that your sister had become allergic to interacting with her own family, it tended to be just you and Lee who spent time together. That's an interesting one. 1 or 3, 2 or 4. 4. Being family helped make you close, but you had a lot of girlfriends. Even though you weren't a girl, you befriended them pretty well. That's a lot of non-girlfriends. The kind of gender someone was didn't seem to make any difference in who you got along with. Then the shrill ringtone announced an incoming call. You jumped before grabbing the receiver and pressing it to your ear. Let's see, like, is this Jill speaking? Greeted by a distorted, high-pitched giggle.
What?
Why do you sound so weird? Mom answers the phone like that sometimes. It's supposed to be polite. You should go with hi. That was something a robot would say. There was static on the end, as if Lee was shifting wherever she was. So, can you believe school's actually over? I thought it'd never be done. Now we don't have to do any of that boring stuff and get to hang out whenever we want. Speaking of hanging out, see, can you wait a second? Let me just head to my room. Oh, yeah. You got up from your seat at the counter. Luckily, the phone was wireless, so you didn't have to worry about any cords tying you down. I remember those days. Our phone in the kitchen used to have a long cord on it. Now we don't even have a landline. Because we mostly just get spam calls. If anybody... So, disconnected the landline. Because it was something we were really using that we paid for. So. Yeah, it's just something about how old I am that I can remember this kind of stuff. Mom had a rule about not moving the phone unless the call was in progress, which is why you'd been sat by its cradle waiting for Lee to call. You didn't like it, but it had to be that way. That made sense. Your moms can be really unfair. So, 1 or 4, 2 or 5, 3 or 6. 4. Your moms can be really unfair. You did not enjoy how strict they were with so many little things. But now that Leah called, it was okay for you to go upstairs to your bedroom and talk to her. You made your way up the stairs, smiling. After you arrived, you shut the bedroom door firmly behind you. You took a seat on your bed. All right, I'm here. Cool. Hey, did you know the girl down the street from me has her own phone now? A cell phone. She didn't have to wait for someone else to stop using it or anything. Wow, really? The thought of someone having a phone like that was all their own seemed unbelievable to you. Right? I wish I had one too, but my parents said I couldn't get my own phone until I'm more grown up. I wish they'd change their minds. We could call each other every single day and no one would be able to stop us. How great would that be? Okay, 1 or 4, 2 or 5, 3 or 6. 2. Wouldn't I still be using a home phone? My mom would be able to stop us if they wanted. You laughed. You didn't put a damper on her imagination. Oh, then you have your own phone too. That works. She sighed dramatically. I bet I'm not going to get one until I'm all the way in college. Squeezing the phone between your shoulder and ear, you puffed up your pillows and made yourself more comfy. It was strange to think of a time when normal school would be over and you'd have to choose whether or not to go to a college. School was such a big part of your life right now. No, it was so weird. Studies didn't come easily to you, but you tried hard. You worked about as hard as most people, and got pretty average results as well. You never cried much, but you still didn't do that bad. Didn't bother at all in school. Your grades reflected that. Everything in your classes came easily to you. You worked hard for your excellent grades. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. You worked hard for your excellent grades. Every A+ you brought home was a result of concentration and diligence. You hoped that you would be able to keep it up through high school. Okay, so there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just dropped it. That was not deliberate. My part. Okay. Most of the stage. There we go. 3. You recovered your grades remain great. You definitely keep the streak going. Yeah. You tried to sound engaged, but your mind had decided to go back to school despite the season. We knew you too well to be fooled.
What's up?
You sound so spacey. What's up? Just thinking about school. We groaned. Are you thinking about how we don't have to think about it because it's summer? That's what I'm doing. Let's take a petition for more vacation time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. Let's not go that far. Let's go with the first one. That wasn't that. Yeah, everybody in class has done it. Maybe some of the teachers too. So I guess school isn't all the way bad. You can do some good things there. You can just do more when school's out. Learning new things can be cool. Gym is pretty great though. It's the easiest way to hang out with people not in the neighborhood. Cafeteria lunch at my school could be better than they had any right to do. There's nothing good about my school. Let's go with gym. There are all sorts of sports stuff during gym. Oh yeah, it can be fun. Sometimes. And that one. If I didn't go to school, I'd never meet anybody new. No one really comes here. But that was all. And that's pretty much everything that's good about school. Okay, point taken.
All right.
Now, I decree the topic of school is officially closed. You have to talk about the summer first before we start planning the rest of our lives. I've got some plans already. Ooh, tell me. I'm going to visit my cousins. You chuckled, of course. What's something you want to do? The first thing that comes to your head. Spend time with people, art supplies, reading, catch up on movies and TV, spend time at the beach. Don't want to do anything at all. It's vacation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Spend time with people. People? I hope that means me too. Of course. You leaned back, settling in, and to continue chatting with your friend. Even though it hadn't been that long since you saw her and you'd be seeing her again soon, you had plenty to talk about. One of the events of the day, you sat up straighter. I was with Cove and Derek today, and we met a new kid. Like at your neighborhood? Mm-hmm. His parents are visiting family, so it sounds like he'll be around for a little while. I don't know how long. What was he like? Mean. He kept snapping when all we were trying to do was talk to him. He just kept being rude to everyone. But especially Cove. It was awful. I don't think I want to meet him. You want a boy to stay away before even meeting him? That's an unexpected twist. Your cousin was pretty popular with the boys who knew her. She seemed happy enough to have him around until he started to annoy her. Who are you to talk? Cove and Derek are always around. They're both boys, you know. Just reminding myself I space out sometimes. That's true. She laughed at your affirmation, deeply amused. Even though she couldn't see, you shook your head at her, grinning to yourself. There was a stomping noise approaching your room, heralding the arrival of your irritated older sister. She flung the door open, a frown etched on her face.
Come on.
How long are you going to hog the phone? Oh gosh, I remember this. Glancing at your watch, you realized that your quick call had gone on much longer than anticipated. Elizabeth held out her hand, and the other one lashed on her hip. She noticed the realization on her face. Time's up. It's a sigh, you said you're good, babe. Wait, I have to go now.
Bye.
Okay, see you soon. Tell Elizabeth and your mom they said hi too. You barely pressed the end call button when Elizabeth whisked the handset from your fingers and began dialing someone new as she strode out of the room. Her mom's voice called from downstairs. Hey, has anyone seen the phone? I'm using it. Come on. With that, she shut your door behind you. Silence was left in the wake. Well, that was only to end your first day of summer break. Sometime later, it had gotten dark outside, and you laid in bed, wide awake. Come on. The window rattled all of a sudden, startling you badly. You flinched, staring over at it with a red eye. From your vantage point, you saw only the moon and an open sky. You were curious. What had caused that noise? Tossing your head, you sat up and moved closer to the window. You wanted to get to the bottom of this. Your utter shock, your gaze was met by a pair of familiar ocean blue eyes. Cove? You squinted. Yep, Cove was right outside your window. The house was very angular, and some parts stuck out further than others, so it theoretically would be hard to climb a land on. Still, just because somebody could didn't mean you expected it to ever happen. To his credit, Cove was doing fine. His feet were bracing against a section of the wall that jutted out, his arms flexing with the effort to keep him upright. He easily lifted a hand and waved at you from the other side of the glass. You hurriedly opened the window. Cove climbed over the ledge, releasing a breath once he was safely inside. My eyes closed shut. Explains it all. She had her friend who always climbed in the window, even on the ground floor. Hi, Jules. Amazing. My dreams have come true. What's up, Romeo? I know that it's late, but I didn't know what else to do. If I rang the doorbell, I know your mom's so bad, so then you'd just make me go home. And they'd just make me go home. I didn't really want to explain why I was coming over. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. Well, besides with you, I mean, but that's why I did that. And as unexpected as this was, you would touch Cove felt like he could tell you what was wrong. I might have tried calling or something, except my dad was on the phone. Cove slowly looked very cross. Dad, he was talking to my mom. Still is, probably. Raise your eyebrows. Cove had eavesdropped on his parents' phone conversation. It was less like online time. There were other things to talk about. Are you going to stay with your mom for a while again? Every year, Cove was sent out to live with his mom for a few weeks. What happened varied. Sometimes he'd go during the winter break, but usually he went during the summer. Even though it's hard news when you found out he was leaving and you missed seeing him those weeks, you understood. He was surprised, however. He shook his head. That's what I thought, too, but no, that's not what they were saying. Dad asked my mom not to have me leave this year. He said she could come stay with us here. He waited for him to continue. He didn't. The conversation abruptly dropped off. We couldn't help but stare at Cole. There was a complicated mix of expressions on his face. What did your mom say? She told him she'd come. I know she's coming soon, before school starts. Oh. He had heard Cole talk about his mom a lot over the years. He'd tell you about past memories or what happened while he was visiting her. So, it was one thing to hear about someone, and another to actually meet them. Very soon, we were going to see Cole's mom in person. We were taken aback by the news, so you could only imagine how Cole felt. We looked over at him. He was facing across the room, his features painted with dread. Before they'd barely stay in the same room long enough to have lunch, now we're going to be all together again, the three of us, after all this time, just for a few weeks. I know I should probably be happy they can talk to each other now. I'm still not. I'm just confused and freaked out, and now I feel really bad for feeling this way. No, it's totally fine, Cove. Totally understandable. I heard someone once explain that hatred comes from love. And one of the reasons for that, and he explained where hatred comes from. And it comes from feeling betrayed by someone else. And that happens a lot with divorced couples. Once a divorce happens, the cause of the divorce is often something very, especially when it's the result of one partner cheating on the other. You feel very betrayed by someone you cared about enough to marry, for Pete's sake. Or it's taught to a person by someone they love. That's how prejudice start a lot of times is you're taught as a kid to hate certain people by your family, the people you love. And also, you can hate someone who is threatening someone you love. So, the reason I'm saying this is it's understandable that close parents couldn't talk to each other right after the divorce. But it's good that they're able to get along long enough. Well, not long enough, but enough that his mom can actually come and stay with them for a bit. But I hope this isn't. I don't know if I would want his parents to get back together, but I don't know why they got divorced in the first place. I'm not sure. Who knows why? But still, it's a change in how things have been for him over the last 5 years. So it's understandable that he would be feeling confused and freaked out about this whole situation. Jules, his tightened and his eyes became misty. I shouldn't keep getting like this. It's been a long time already, and I'm not a little kid. So I wouldn't meet your eyes. You knew he was waiting for you to say something. There's nothing wrong with feeling bad. That is hard to deal with. Tense line of Cove's shoulders eased. Thanks. It makes you feel a little better. Like I'm not freaking out for no reason. A momentary silence fell over the two of you. He marveled at how the day started. He had woken up eager for summer vacation, but now things seemed so crazy. The mini debacle with Mr. Holden's guest, the newest addition to the neighborhood being so rude, and as if all that wasn't enough, how Cove's mom would be living with Cove and his dad again. The whole life was kind of like that. It seemed complicated and hard and different. Why couldn't things just get better with time? Because that's not the way things work. Jules? The thought of your name, said quietly, pulled you from your thoughts. No face that you concerned.
Are you okay?
Me? I'm more worried about you. You don't have to forget about yourself for me. You want to listen to you, too. Cove grinned reassuringly. It was small and delicate, but you knew it was genuine. He'd come here conflicted and upset, only to end up worrying about you. He really was a great friend. No, I think I don't want to talk anymore about this. He looked away, his lips staying intertwined, and rubbed at his arm. But I kind of don't want to go back home either. Can I stay a little longer, just doing something else? He appeared equal parts hopeful and vulnerable. I could possibly turn him away. Got a flashlight and some cards, are you in? Tilted your head, waiting patiently for his answer. Hope perked up at your response, a smile appeared on his face. He immediately took a seat on your bed, not afraid to get comfortable in your room. Felt a little better at the sight somehow. He still had a lot of worries. You were glad he was here. And not just tonight. You were glad he came into your life in the first place. That was a change you'd never want to undo. It felt totally natural to let him into your little world. That initial friendship had deepened so much over these past years. You were certain there was room to get even closer. You joined Cove on your bed, taking a seat across from him. He smiled at you again, but you could tell this time it was half-hearted. He was still easy to read. Though he didn't want to talk about his mom and dad, he must be thinking about what happened and what's about to happen. You moved closer and wrapped your arms around him. It wasn't much, but you hoped the contact helped, even a little. Hope rose up, startled. After a moment, his arms came up, and he returned your hug. The two of you remained like that for some time. He might have mumbled something to you, but was too quiet to tell what it was. When he pulled back, his expression had softened into something more natural. Conversation was stilted and broken often by silence at first, and both of you were able to get into your usual candor. As a secret hangout session stretched on, you thought that you truly wanted to keep having moments like this with him. You hoped the day would never come when life decided that the two of you would have to part ways. You knew Cove felt the same. You opened your tired eyes, groaning as they adjusted to the bright light that was streaming through your window and warming your dark brown skin. With a loud yawn, you rolled away from the sunlight and blinked a couple of times, clearing the sleep from your eyes, before realizing at the start that it was actually morning. You couldn't remember even falling asleep. Cove had crept through your window during the night, and the two of you spent time together, trying not to wake your parents. You must have fallen asleep while you were hanging out, but couldn't put a finger on exactly when. You wondered how late Cove had stayed before heading home. You rubbed your face and yawned again, contemplating whether you should get out of bed and get ready for the day, or stay singled out for a little while longer. Your gaze landed on an instantly recognizable mop of pale green hair. You bolted upright and gasped in surprise. You never left! He's still there, in the morning. Gross. Your muscles refused to move an inch, and your eyes widened as you stared at Cove's sleeping form in absolute shock. Your mom found out he had slept here the entire night. You'd both be in big, big trouble. You listened quickly that you needed to get Cove out of here before your mom's or Elizabeth walked in and found him. You moved your body to get a move on and swung your legs over the side of the bed. After giving a firm shake on the shoulder, Cove's eyes flew open and he woke with a start. He scrambled out of the way as he rapidly jumped to his feet before his balance and falling back down. He recovered just as quickly and faced you indignantly.
Hey!
What was that for? What? The situation dawned on him, too, before he even finished the word. Cove blinked at you a couple of times, his eyes growing in panic as some thought that only he could hear settled in his mind.
Oh my
God, I fell asleep! You weren't exactly sure what to do as you watched Cove pace your room, looking around frantically. Cove's hands flew to his face, letting out a sigh of relief when he found his glasses right where they were supposed to be. Despite that, he hadn't come down completely. The atmosphere was still frazzled. Fall down before Moms hear you. Cove nodded, his shoulders tense as he fixed you with a firm stare with his turquoise eyes. Letting out a heavy sigh, he ran a hand through his hair in exasperation. He couldn't look at you again as he spoke. I'll see you later. You were confused by how all this had played out, but hoped that it was true. Right. Bye, Cove. That you were suddenly wrapped up in a tense embrace. As kind as he was, this seemed to be something he couldn't get before leaving. Thanks. Again. You're a good friend, Jules. He firmly whispered the words into the top of your shoulder. But you were to let go before you had a chance to respond or even fully react. In a matter of seconds, he had climbed over your bed and opened the window. A cool breeze rolled off the ocean, fluttering through Cove's hair and filling your room with its salty scent. Cove fearlessly stepped down onto the ledge. Good luck. Good luck. Be super careful. You weren't sure if he heard you or not, but he kept pulling it along, one foot in front of the other, with increasing speed, until his form disappeared out of sight. He had to head out the window as far as they could go to try keeping watch. He walked the full length of the ledge and jumping down to the top of the garage, and then lowering himself onto the fence. From there, he finally dropped down to the ground. He read a thumbs up at a successful climb. He ran off towards his house without stopping, just staring behind the side of another building. I have to admit that you're pretty impressed at how doable he made that look. With a little sigh, you reclosed your window. Deciding there was nothing more you could do, you hopped off your bed and got ready to head downstairs for the day. Making your bed. There's a habit of yours. You straightened up the sheets, smoothed over your comforter, fluffed your pillows, before stepping back and admiring your work. You took the stairs, slowly attempting to mask your face into a look of innocence. You were sure that someone would have come into your room if they had heard anything strange, but you couldn't be too careful. You had to play it cool. So you stepped into the living room. Elizabeth was there, tapping her finger on the counter. Good morning, Elizabeth. She looked you over immediately, her eyes squinting at the greeting.
Why?
Are you being so weird? You hadn't even done anything. Your big sister never missed a beat, unfortunately. He turned and offered a tight smile, and her lips pursed together even tighter. Jules? Shrug it off. I'm not. He spoke so nonchalantly, you almost thought she believed you. But you knew better. With a suspicious squinting occurred as she waited for something. But ultimately, she rolled her eyes, and you weren't sure if you were in trouble or not. She didn't seem to care enough to dig any further. Whatever. And then she went straight out the front door, laying its arm shut behind her, and you let out a brief sigh. Elizabeth went out most days to hang out with her friends from school around town. Today you were extra glad for it, so you were also grateful she hadn't left the house any sooner and risked riding into Cove. It looked like you were getting away with that. Breakfast was eaten in peace and alone. The moms were both out by the time you had gotten up. You had left your serving of food from the breakfast you made, hash browns, an omelet, fruit salad, and there were a few sausage links. A little bit of everything. But it was tasty. You appreciated that there was a variety in the meals your parents made. The day lazily drifted by at home, and eventually your parents returned. You looked in the fridge again, lingering in the frosty air for a moment or two before grabbing a bottle of ice-cold water and taking a long drink. It was a perfect, balmy summer afternoon, and you had decided to head outdoors and find something to do. You hadn't decided what that something was just yet, but you were sure something would pop up to occupy your time. As you were heading out the front door, you paused for a moment. You hadn't seen Cove since he had left that morning, and you couldn't help but think about what had happened to him. Would it be bad to go over to his house right now, or to call him to check in? Stepped out of your house, still stuck in an internal debate with yourself, when a voice caught your attention.
Hi.
Hi, Jules. Confused, you looked over to where an unrecognizable woman was waving at you. A friendly smile plastered on her face. Racked your memory for where you might have seen her before, but nothing came to mind. Not at your school or from the country club your mom took you to. You had absolutely no idea who the woman was. The woman crossed the road towards you, and you were a little unsure whether you should stay put or go back into the house and lock the door. Oops, I'm sorry, was that presumptuous? I've heard about you, but you have no idea who I am, do you? I know who this is. Pretty sure I know. You shook your head and she removed her sunglasses to reveal sparkly ocean blue eyes. All of a sudden, she seemed a little more familiar. Ha! I'm right. I know I am. My son lives here, and my aunt, too. With a bent smile, she lifted a handle to point at the condo across the street from your own house. She was Cove's mom. You didn't know why you hadn't realized sooner now that you've gotten a good look at her. Super pretty. It's so different to Cove. The little time you've been around her, she'd given off a totally different impression than Cove did. No matter your thoughts on her, you still felt taken aback that she had appeared here so suddenly. Cove mentioned she was coming, but you hadn't gotten the impression that it would be the very next day. She extended her hand again, this time for you to take, and you studied the manicured fingers in front of your face and the assortment of bracelets that dangled from her wrist. I'm Kyra Priest. You can call me Kyra. Kira. Let's shake her hand. Reached out and took her hand, and she shook hers from her, grinning wide. I'm Jules, so you already know that. That I do. Cove mentioned you to me before. It's nice to officially meet you, Jules. Cove talked to you about his mom, but he hadn't mentioned how he said things to you about you to her. I mean, it makes sense that he would. Let's stick with being polite. Nice to meet you too. She saw that you found me, her eyes twinkling at the corners. The sound of a door opening and closing caught both your attentions, and when you turned towards the sound, it was to find Cove exiting his house, backskin on the ground. Considering just how tall he had grown, you kind of figured his mom also would have been tall, but she was much more on the short side, for an adult anyway. Cove's height must have come from his father.
My baby!
There you are! I thought you were going to keep me standing out here all day! But my baby, oh my gosh, that's such a parent thing to do. You tried to catch Cove's eye as he walked towards you, but his gaze was firmly fixed on the sidewalk. When he finally crossed the road and looked up, he gave you a pitiful look. After the way he had acted last night, you knew he must be feeling pretty mixed up about this. You tried wordlessly to express that you understood. Cove and I are heading into town to grab something to eat while the snore is at work. Oh gosh. Kara binged at Cove and ruffled his hair, which really seemed to upset him more. You assumed the snore she was talking about was Mr. Holden. Hey, you should come with us, Jules. I'd love to get to know you better. Yeah, you should come. There's a pleading in his tone that you couldn't miss. Of course we'll run it by your parents first. Responsibility and all that.
Any hoosies?
It'll give me an excuse to meet them, which I need to do at some point. It's important to be neighborly if I'm going to be roosting on the street for the time being. Any hoosies, let's go! Oh my gosh. She's very different from Cove. I love it. Kyra walked ahead towards your house and you hung back with Cove, but he was his nose as he watched her.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about her, but I really do want you to come. I don't want it to be just the two of us. Not right now. You leaned in closer and whispered while checking around for anyone who might hear. What happened? Did your dad know you were gone? Cove shook his head and sighed heavily. Dad was so focused on Mom showing up that he didn't even notice. I thought when I heard them on the phone last night that it was something they were planning for the future. This morning Dad said it was supposed to be a surprise, and I guess I was surprised. She's going to be here all summer. Okay, so she's going to be part of the excursion. Great! Oh, I'm surprised to hear that too. So sighed again even heavier. I'll go with you if you really want me to. He smiled, his shoulders relaxing a little in relief. Thanks, that'd be cool. The two of you headed over to where Cove's mom had just knocked on your front door and stood behind her. Mom opened the door after a minute, her eyebrows lifting in surprise at the group she found in front of her. You realized that, like you, she would have no idea that it was Cove's mom who was hanging with you. However, after blinking at the woman a couple of times and looking between her and Cove, the realization seemed to strike on her. Hello there, I'm Pamela.
I see.
I see you've met my kid, Jules, and I'm guessing you've already known Cove for a while. Kyra laughed, and you and Cove exchanged looks at your parents' weird sense of humor. I'm Kyra Priest, Cove's mom. It's so nice to meet you. A head of purple-brown hair caught your eye as Ma popped up behind Mom, squeezing himself in beside her. We have company. I was wondering what the commotion was. She grinned excitedly at Kyra. The two of them introduced themselves and shook hands.
Hello.
Hi, Jules. Cove. Cove smiled at Ma shyly, and he gestured a hand towards the living room. There's nobody's hanging around in the door. Why don't you come in? I'd love to, but I promised to take my son out to eat, and I wouldn't want to hold you up with a surprise visit. Oh, I understand. You're welcome to stop by any time.
Of course.
I'll take you up on the offer when I can. Count on it. Would you mind too much if Jules went with Cove and I? My treat. We won't be driving, just a quick walk down the road. Sure, that sounds nice.
Have fun.
I hope you all have fun. You gave your mom a look, and they smiled at you fondly. Let's put the first one. You could tell that Cove really needed the support, and we were ready to be there for him. This is taking a while, and may not get to any of the moments until next week.
Marvelous.
Expect us back in an hour or two. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Parents waved goodbye to the three of you as you backed up onto the street. There was the sound of the front door closing behind you. I'm pretty positive I saw some restaurants when I was in the taxi not too far from here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them around. The answer was straightforward and the tone was firm. It was usually more lighthearted than this. Kyra put her hands on her hips and smiled at her son. You sound like the area expert. Do you have any recommendations for a place nearby? Not really. Kyra pouted at him a little and turned to you instead. What about you, Jules? Want to point me in the right direction? Yeah, let's go this way. We've been to a lot of places in town, and there were a couple that stood out from all the rest. There's a Chinese restaurant that me and my family go to all the time. It's my mom's favorite. There's also a tropical theme place that tries to be sort of fancy. It does sound like a treat. I'll leave it to you to pick it for us, since Cove is going through a phase over there. He huffed at her and turned his face away. Let's go with the Chinese restaurant.
Thank you.
Chinese. Thank you, Jules. Will you show us the way? You know, I had taken the lead of your little group with Cove and his mom and followed behind you. Together, the three of you left the neighborhood behind. The walk was about 15 minutes, and along the way, Kyra asked a lot of questions about the area. Cove was quiet most of the time, so you ended up answering her instead. Kyra explained that she lived in a large city, and she liked how peaceful and relaxing everything seemed in Sunset Third. Where I live, there really isn't much within walking distance. It's mostly residential. So the idea of being able to walk somewhere for lunch or dinner is very strange to me. The restaurant was busy as usual, but luckily you were shown right to a small table. Kyra lowered herself into the chair while Cove took the one diagonal to her, not facing her or to her side. It was awkward. Let's see. To start, what would you all like to drink? I've got an orange soda. Noted. Jules? Juice. Which flavor? Lemonade. Sure. Kyra placed the order for a drink, getting a black coffee for herself, and it didn't take long before they were brought to the table and set in front of you. I am not a coffee drinker. Though I since realized it's probably because I have a very sweet tooth. So something like coffee or tea would be bitter without any milk or sugar added to it would be bitter to me. Would be more bitter than usual, because some people can taste what are called tannins more strongly than others, and they're usually the people who have a lot of cream or sugar in their coffee. And coffee is just no. But apparently, if you cold brew coffee, it doesn't taste as bitter. So I'll have to try that eventually. You took a long sip of your drink as you looked around the restaurant. The small group checked over the menus, and you decided to order your usual thing. You had been to this restaurant many times, so you knew what was good and what wasn't already. Kyra and Cove didn't need any encouragement for this. They were totally focused on the information in front of them. Soon the meals too were ordered and menus taken away. Glad at the table service, waiting to figure out what to say. Cove sank back further into his seat, avoided eye contact. Started to twiddle his thumbs while acting like this was all perfectly normal. Like all this was perfectly normal. His sour feelings today were unignorable. Instead of asking more open questions to brush off, Kyra had mercy on her shins and instead put her focus towards you. So, Jules, what's a few things that you're into? There's got to be something you do for fun, especially now that you're not buried in school assignments. I'm really into Cove. No, we're not going to say that. That would be funny. I'm going to make him blush. You know what? I'm actually going to say that and see what the reaction is, and then I'm going to go back. Cairo let out a sudden laugh and Cove gasped beside you. It was dramatic enough of an inhale that almost choked on the soda. He shrugged at the reaction. That was a truthful answer to the question. Jules! He whispered at you disapprovingly and stirring part of his face with a hand, but Cairo only waved him up and encouraged you to go on. We spend time together when we can. I like it. Well, we have something in common. Cairo smiled at Cove, who didn't look too impressed by either of you at that moment. You know what? I'm going to keep it. I'm going to stick with it. I like it. I go to the beach and go surfing. Oh, do you and Cove surf together? Harry looked at Cove expectantly, who mumbled something noncommittally and looked away again. Swim? You must be a strong swimmer since you live so close to the ocean. I find the water a little scary, but I still like to dip my toes sometimes. And I'm into sports, like volleyball. There we go. That makes sense. I'll bet there's a lot of that on the beach near here. And I like to read fiction novels. Me too. Nothing beats growing up with a good book. And music. Let's say the guitar. I'm really good at it. And I like to watch plays. That's very interesting. And I hang out with people. Hey, it's nice to have friends to really spend time with. And I have to learn more about you. There's so much I hadn't heard. Cove leaves the details out. So what exactly did Cove say about me? Harry laughed, holding a hand in front of her mouth. I can't tell you that. I didn't come all this way to embarrass my son. Too much. Kids are delicate at this age. She laughed again, and he glanced at Cove to see his reaction. He was trying not to pay attention, but you could tell he was uncomfortable. Hoping it would clear some of the tension in the air, you decided to ask Cairo a few questions of your own. Cove hadn't told you much about her, and you were curious to know more about this woman who was such a big part of his life. What exactly do you do for work? I'm a travel writer for magazines and things. I keep people in the loop on what's worth seeing. It's good work. Wow. No, we're not asking that. What do you like to do? Spend time with my little boy, of course, and traveling. A real shock, huh? Yep. Where do you live normally? Nevada. Have you ever been there? I've driven through there and visited friends. My twin sister and her roommate have been to Nevada a few times because her roommate's brother lives there with his wife and kids. And they actually stopped there on the way to moving my plane up to Idaho. You should go ahead. It's a beautiful place. Check it out if you can. Those are very personal questions, so I'm not going to ask them. I'm going to bring myself to ask another question. I think you probably heard that the conversation's outside. Rose sipped his soda angrily, slurping up the remaining drink with furrowed brows. He looked ready to run straight out of the restaurant. You weren't sure if coming along had ended up making the lunch better or worse. You flicked a straw wrapper at him. The wrapper hit Cove on the nose. You had to bite down your lip to keep from laughing. It took a couple of moments, but finally he cracked a smile, and that made you feel a little lighter inside.
Very cute.
You two seem really cute together. Cove covered his face with his hands and leaned back in his seat.
Seriously?
Mom, why would you say that? Thanks, we are cute. Very. Your meals were delivered shortly after that, and everything was so delicious, even Cove enjoyed his food.
Okay.
Alright, now that we're all full and content, can you explain, please, why you've had a bug up your butt all day? Cove's face scrunched up back. Seriously, baby, what does Mom do to make you this mad? I haven't even been around all day yet. He gripped the edge of the table, refusing to make eye contact. The words he spoke were barely audible over the din of the restaurant. You could have told me. Leaned forward to not miss anything else, eyebrows raised. Told you what? He finally seemed to find his voice and spoke the thoughts that had been on his mind. That I wasn't going to visit you this year, that you were going to be coming instead. Didn't you invite me? You wanted me here with you? His eyes began to shake and his frustration ebbed. I do want you to be around, but I didn't know it'd be like this. It's not the same, and nobody said anything.
I see.
So it's not so much that she's visiting as if they surprised him with it and give him a chance to prepare. Her expression grew tense. She threaded her fingers together and placed her hands in front of her on the table. We've both been gifted another Clifford surprise. Referring to that as a Clifford surprise almost provoked both you and Cove to crack a smile. You also had no idea his name wasn't just Cliff. Over 5 years, nobody had ever called him Clifford until now. She smoothed her hair out, not letting go her stern look. The more things change, the more they stay the same. They are identical size. They probably fit one another afterwards.
I'm sorry.
I can go home, Cove. We can still set up a normal trip to my place before the summer ends. Cove's lips tightly closed together. He seriously pondered the option.
I mean...
I think I do want you to stay. I miss it when you're not there. My heart! She reached across the gap, grabbed his face, and planted a kiss on his cheek. Cove tried to wriggle away. A typical teenage boy. Mom, stop! I'm sorry. Sweet young men need to be smooshed by their parents. If I don't, they'll take away my mom license. Kyra was completely enthused by Cove's admission, though a tone of seriousness that did return to her voice when the conversation continued. You want to talk to your dad, too?
No!
Cove had snapped the word instantly, but reeled his annoyance back and just as quickly. Maybe later. Not today.
It's all right.
I understand. We can shelve it. Thanks, Mom. Thank you for talking to me, little mister. She grinned affectionately at him before turning her away. And thank you, Jules. Huh? What did I do? It's easy to act like a baby with your mom. It's hard to keep that up with your neighbor watching everything. Especially when you really care about what said neighbor thinks of you. She winked. Mom? She just ruffled his hair with a laugh, then moved her hand out to pat the end of his nose. And that was how the issue was resolved, at least between Cove and his mom. When his baby left the restaurant and Kyra had paid the bill, you walked back to your neighborhood slowly. You had eaten so much by that time you were beginning to feel sleepy. It didn't help that the lunch had happened late. The sun was already beginning to descend from the sky. But eventually you reached your street. Someone was there to greet your group upon arrival. Welcome back, family, and Jules, too.
Huh.
Cliff. Dad. The two walked past him into the condo without sparing another word. Despite the summer heat, their shoulders were cold. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I forgot his name was Clifford. He rubbed the back of his neck with a perfect smile, but his eyes were soft as he looked on after them. He's so much like his mom, don't you think? He gave a vague nod, not sure what he was expecting him to do. He nodded back, far more energetically. Okay, have a nice night, Jules. You too, Mr. Holden. With that, Cove's dad disappeared to join the others inside. It was your turn to go home now. Summer hadn't started off at all how you imagined it would have, but it turned out to set the tone well. Having Kyra in the neighborhood was a new experience for not only you and Cove, but also both the families, and a dull moment was rarely had. Okay, finally. and I'm not up to doing even one of these moments. So we will save this and continue next week. I'm not sure how long it'll take me to get through all of these, but it looks like it's 10, just like the previous step. So we'll get through all of these, same way we did before. First row and then second. So for now, we are done. So I hope you enjoyed this. I have decided that if Jules is going to actually transition to being to he, him pronouns in adulthood. See how things go with Cove and Derek. He seems like a nice guy. I mean, literally a nice guy, not a nice guy. He seems pretty cool. So, I will see you next time. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed these. And don't hesitate to watch the other videos I recorded. And so until next time, take care.